Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Coach's Corner with Coach Hadassah and myself, Coach Cotton. We're so glad you joined us tonight. Look, we have a great show for you all tonight. Coach, we made it. We here.
We made it. Yes, indeed. Hey, everybody! On this wonderful, fabulous, wonderful Wednesday.
Yes, wonderful Wednesday. I love that. Yes, it is wonderful.
Yes. Look, how was your Wednesday
My
so far?
Wednesday has been very productive. Did a couple of lives today, did some uploading of some videos, working out some kinks in my business, like just content creating. So today was a day of creativity for me. Like really creativity. I've been writing a lot today and I was like, I'm on today. I'm like, I'm happy to be on today. Cause look, some days I could be off and I'd be like, what is happening today? This day is over. I don't blew the whole day, ain't got nothing done. So today was very productive and it was a day of creativity. And I don't know, Coach, is something happening in the universe that I felt very productive and creative. If you know something, you got some discernment, because that's what we're talking about tonight, of anything that's
Yeah,
going on out there with your
yes.
energy and universe. And
And you
because
know
I felt
what?
on it today, Coach. I really did. I felt like, oh, I'm getting
Oh,
this done. And you did too,
right.
Coach.
Yeah, man,
So,
today,
can you enlighten us on, is anything happening we need to be aware of?
yes, it is. Let's see, what's today? Today is the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Today is the 23rd. We do have a new moon coming up. I mean, not new moon, full moon, which is actually it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. For some reason, I
Oh,
thought it was today. But the full moon is tomorrow, June
okay.
24th at 1:39 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's 2:39 p.m. your time. But that's the possible energy that we're feeling. The moon is in Sagittarius.
Nice.
It would just be full moon, where it makes its exact opposition with the sun. But here's the thing about
Okay.
it, with the moon in Sagittarius, it's that's all it's about expansion, it's about abundance, it's about like jubilee, so it's really feeling good, feeling festive, things like that. Look,
Nice.
good luck or benefiting. And listen,
Nice. Okay.
when I tell you, oh my gosh, look, let me tell you about my morning. Look, this is just my morning,
Your
okay?
morning.
My morning. So yesterday, I got into a couple of trades, right? From our trade ideas. I have the service where it comes to my phone, so I don't miss them. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop into a couple of these trades, right? I didn't want to
Okay.
do more than three, so I said I'm gonna choose three, and I did. I got into them and everything, and one didn't take long to get into profit at all.
Okay.
So then a trade idea for gold came out, and now you know how gold can be.
Fickle.
Yeah, gold can
Look,
be
fickle.
right. And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go for it. I'm gonna go for the gold. And so I did. And now, like you said, gold could be fickle. So as soon as I entered in, next thing you know, where my trades are in blue, now gold and took things to red. But we know how that is. It was like, okay,
Right.
going back and forth, back and forth. So I didn't close any trades out or anything. I put in my stop losses. I put in my take profits. After a while, I didn't put them in at first, but then I did, and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna let them run. I'm gonna let them run. I woke
Nice.
up this morning. One of my trades had hit the take profit, and I profited from it. Um, and so I'm like, okay. So I still had two trades rolling. Gold was still rolling, and the other trade, I forgot which one it was. It was still rolling. The other trade was in blue, gold was in red,
Nice.
right? So I said to myself, I'm not gonna close it out. I'm just wait. And then it did go in the blue. And when it blue is like, okay, $6, $10, something like that. And I almost was like, you know what? Let me take this little $6, $10 and call it one. It's better than
Right. You about to just cash out. Look.
right. I was about to cash out at that $6, $10. But I didn't. Got on our session this morning with King Pip, Aaron, we're scalping, right?
Gotcha.
And so look, I was about to go ahead and scalp in my live account. Ryan stopped me. Ryan was like, no.
You are not ready for this right now.
You're not ready to scalp. You're not ready to scalp.
That's so hilarious.
Go to your demo. I was like, okay. So I went ahead, went to my demo to scalp with everybody, And look, Mike with his trigger finger, he was on it. He was like, "Ooh, got in, ooh, got out, ooh, got in, ooh, got out." Right?
He out, he in and out.
Right, he in and out, right? So it came to me like, you know what? Go back into your live account and check your trades in your live account.
Okay.
Honey, I went back to my live account. Baby gold was at 120.
Nice.
It was at $120. Now, mind you, remember, I checked it this morning and it was negative. I checked back then. Both those trades were in blue. That gold was about like at 120 or whatever. Girl, I ran upstairs. I was like, Ryan, what do you think I should do? I'm like, I could, because me.
That's so funny.
I'm that person. Like, look, I'm about to take this 120 and run.
Right.
I'm gonna take it and run, right?
I'm out.
So, but I asked him, I was like, did you check? Check it, see what check it, see what it's gonna do, where it's gonna go, or whatever. And so he said, okay, Mom, you got two options. He said you can move your stop loss where he said you won't lose anything, but you won't. If it pulls back or whatever, you won't get that. He said, or you could just close it out right now. Girl, I couldn't hit that close button fast enough.
You were like, I'm hitting it. I'm out. I'm out. I'm gone.
I'm taking this because
do not blame you.
Man, you already know. Go to be like, oh, okay. So
that thing been on reversed on you. Man, go be like, I changed my mind. You should have got me when it was good.
Right. Go be over here having hot flashes.
Right. Go be over there. Look, playing double dutch with you.
Right. And so I was like, I'm closing.
That's hilarious.
Out. And so the other trade had went on and took its it hit its takes profit. So all my trades closed out in blue, and which that was great. It was
awesome.
Great. And so that was one of those things like, hey, what I got about 220, 250 or whatever out of the market before.
That's nice. That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Right? Look. Before 9 a.m. Some people were still in traffic. Some people was getting off the train. Some people had just clocked in. Some people had just sat down at the office and haven't made the money for the day. And
love it.
I had made it before 9.
Love it.
At home on my cell phone. So the rest of the day was just productive. The rest of the day was just pretty productive, after that. So it's a great day. So the energy is wonderful. That's going on in the universe. Our personal energy is wonderful.
Yes.
And so, it's that thing. So look, we're talking about discernment. Look, maybe I discerned that I need to go.
Talking about discernment, that's right on time.
Right.
That is super hilarious. Super hilarious. Well, look, honey, we got this video.
Yes. So let me go ahead and go go to it. We're going to be this week. We're just talking about what did we hit on Monday? Because Monday was good. It
Monday
was
we was look, let me go back. We were talking about
True actions.
adding value, to people who act like you didn't help them. You remember we took that post you had?
Grasp true.
yes,
That's what we were talking about Monday, and it led us over into discernment today.
yes, yes. So this is where we are. So I'm pulling up the video. Spiritual empowerment, discernment, the I, which is like the I, EYE, and I, as in I, like me, myself,
Ah,
and I.
right.
Right,
Yes.
like me, myself, and I. So let me go ahead and pull up the share the video here. Share audio. All righty. So all right. So this is where we talk about discernment. I'm checking, making sure the sound is great. All right, here we go.
True actions. Following on right principles and methods come true actions. One who is striving to grasp true principles and work with sound methods will soon come to perceive that details of conduct cannot be overlooked, that, indeed, those details are fundamentally distinctive or creative, according to their nature, and are of deep significance and comprehensive importance. And this perception and knowledge of the nature and power of passing actions will gradually open and grow within him as an added vision, a new revelation. As he acquires this insight, his progress will be more rapid, his pathway in life more sure, his days more serene and peaceful. In all things, he will go the true and direct way, unswayed and untroubled by the external forces that play around and about him. Not that he will be indifferent to the welfare and happiness of those about him, that is quite another thing. But he will be indifferent to their opinions, to their ignorance, to their ungoverned passions. By true actions, indeed, is meant acting rightly towards others, and the right doer knows that his actions, in accordance with truth, are but for the happiness of those about him, and he will do them even though an occasion may arise when someone near to him may advise or implore him to do otherwise. True actions may easily be distinguished from false by all who wish so to distinguish, in order that they may avoid false action and adopt true. As in the material world, we distinguish things by their form, color, size, etc., choosing those things which we require and putting by those things which are not useful to us. So in the spiritual world of deeds, we can distinguish between those that are bad and those that are good by their nature, their aim, and their effect, and can choose and adopt those that are good and ignore those that are bad. In all forms of progress, avoidance of the bad always precedes acceptance and knowledge of the good. Just as a child at school learns to do its lessons right by having repeatedly pointed out to it how it has done them wrong, if one does not know what is wrong and how to avoid it, how can he know what is right and how to practice it? Bad or untrue, actions are those that spring from a consideration of one's own happiness only, and ignore the happiness of others, that arise in violent disturbances of the mind and unlawful desires, or that call for concealment in order to avoid undesirable complications. Good or true actions are those that spring from a consideration for others, that may arise in calm reason and harmonious thought, framed on moral principles, or that will not involve the doer in shameful consequences if brought into the full light of day. The right doer will avoid those acts of personal pleasure and gratification, which by their nature bring annoyance, pain, or suffering to others, no matter how insignificant those actions may appear to be. He will begin by putting away these. He will gain a knowledge of the unselfish and true by first sacrificing the selfish and untrue. He will learn not to speak or act in anger, or envy, or resentment, but will study how to control his mind, and will restore it to calmness before acting. And most important of all, he will avoid, as he would the drinking of deadly poison, those acts of trickery, deceit, double dealing, in order to gain some personal profit of advantage, and which lead, sooner or later, to exposure and shame for the doer of them. If a man is prompted to do a thing which he needs to conceal, and which he would not lawfully and frankly defend if it were examined of witness, he should know by that it is a wrong act, and therefore to be abandoned without a further moment's consideration. The carrying out of this principle of honesty and sincerity of action, too, will further lead him into such a path of thoughtfulness and right doing as will enable him to avoid doing those things which would involve him in the deceptive practices of other people. Before signing papers, or entering into verbal or written agreements, or engaging himself to others in any way at their request, particularly if they be strangers, he will first inquire into the nature of the work or undertaking, and so, enlightened, he will know exactly what to do, and will be fully aware of the import of his action. To the right doer, thoughtlessness is a crime. Thousands of actions done with good intent lead to disastrous consequences because they are acts of thoughtlessness. And it is well said that the way to hell is paved with good intentions. The man of true action is, above all things, thoughtful. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. The term thoughtlessness covers a wide field in the realm of deeds. It is only by increasing in thoughtfulness that a man can come to understand the nature of actions, and can thereby acquire the power of always doing that which is right. It is impossible for a man to be thoughtful and act foolishly. Thoughtfulness embraces wisdom. It is not enough that an action is prompted by a good impulse or intention. It must arise in thoughtful consideration, if it is to be a true action. And the man who wishes to be permanently happy in himself, and a power for good to others, must concern himself only with true actions. I did it with the best of intentions is a poor excuse from one who has thoughtlessly involved himself in the wrongdoing of others. His bitter experience should teach him to act more thoughtfully in the future. True actions can only spring from a true mind, and therefore while a man is learning to distinguish and choose between the false and the true, he is correcting and perfecting his mind, and is thereby rendering it more harmonious and felicitous, more efficient and powerful. As he acquires the inner eye to clearly distinguish the right in all the details of life, and the faith and knowledge to do it, he will realize that he is building the house of his character and life upon a rock, which the winds of failure and the storms of persecution can never undermine.
Love the video.
What'd you say, Coach?
I said, love the video.
I thought you might like that.
Yes.
That was a really good explanation of discernment. Like, she kind of broke it down, which is really good, made it simple, gave you the differences between what's natural, what's spiritual. So I definitely was feeling it today. I like, look, the way my creativity and energy was set up today, I was like, this is so good. This is good.
Yes. And and you know what? It made me bring up the and I typed it down in the chat, but just the definition
Yeah.
of discernment, or to discern, right? And like she was saying in there, of course, but to detect with the eyes, to detect with the senses other than vision, to recognize or identify as separate and distinct, to come to know or recognize mentally,
Right.
to see or understand the difference, And so, you know, some people may have that question of discern. Well, how did you discern this or discern that? Or we talk about spiritual discernment. And
Right.
so if we're looking at by definition, to come to know or to recognize mentally, then that means that we must be in the or like we would say, in our right minds,
Right.
right? We would have to be in our right minds in order to come to know or recognize or discern from a mental, from that mental place that,
Right.
okay, if we're mentally stable, if we're mentally healthy, then we can discern and see, because of course, the next definition of is to recognize or identify as separate and distinct. So if you're in a mentally healthy place, in order to recognize, or you're cognizant, you can see that by the behavior, tone, even
Mm-hmm.
actions, body language,
Mm-hmm.
all of that is separate and distinct from something or someone that is healthy mentally,
Right.
emotionally, all that. And I remember when I was younger, um uh I think I asked this question of my grandmother, because we were having like a Bible study at home, and she talked about that, the discernment and everything. And I asked her that question, like, well, how do you discern? How can you discern?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
um and she pretty much broke that down about like spiritual discernment. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, again, you would see, if you're in a certain spiritual place, you know the difference. You know what I'm saying? You can clearly see uh the difference in spirit by, again, that be the behavior, conduct, actions, all of that kind of stuff, because I just wanted to know. And that's one of those things where, like, everything is taught.
Mm-hmm.
Really, everything is taught. We come into this world learning. We come
Right.
into this world, education, or us learning, just doesn't stop at you graduated high school, or you graduated, a college or a university, and then all of a sudden it's just, just shut down from learning. No, we
Right.
will be learning until we take our last breath. We will even be learning from ages to come, even when we're not in this realm anymore.
Absolutely.
There'll always be, that thing. So, um, I think it's very important to teach that,
Mm-hmm.
although, we all have that ability to, intuition.
Right.
Intuition is to be taught from within, right?
Right.
But it's that outward, and not saying like you're looking for outward validation or anything like that, but it's that confirmation of
Mm-hmm.
what you are, taught from within, where you can share that without. And it's very important, at least to me it is, to help or to teach young people about discernment, and to
Right.
discern, because then this is the way that they keep themselves from, like it talked about in that video. Hey, they say you around and you had a group of friends or something like that, and they're about to get into some stuff.
Right.
Well, it's knowing right from wrong, but then also, uh there's a lot of times where people get into stuff because they were deceived. They
Right.
were deceived. But how do you discern and avoid being deceived? Right? Because, I mean, think about it. Let's take it back to the garden. The serpent, And that word serpent means to twist.
Right.
You're twisting words. You're twisting the meaning of something,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. And so that's that thing with deception. It's very subtle.
Right.
It's taking a truth and twisting the meaning of it
Mm-hmm.
so that a person can take advantage to get something that they want that's going to benefit them, but it's going to hurt you in the long run, right? But how do you discern and avoid even being deceived to where you don't get caught up in that tangled web or
Right.
entanglement, right? And
Right.
so I think it's important to teach children about that early, teach them how to discern, because
Mm-hmm.
they won't always be with us. Like my children, I teach them about stuff like this. It's like, you won't always be with me. You won't always be with your parents. You will go out there, you'll be with your friends and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to discern, right from wrong, but you have to discern um certain things or whatever, because hey, it's deceivers out here.
Right.
It just
Right.
is what it is. They are out here and they will continue to be,
They're
but
not gonna go anywhere.
they're not
Right.
going nowhere, right? They're not going nowhere. But you just don't want to get caught up in that tangled web. Because I mean, the scriptures say that. I mean, look, people will be deceived. Look, deceiving and being deceived. So if the scriptures
Right.
say it, that means that that's going to keep on happening, but you can avoid it, right? People can avoid it. And I mean, look, the scriptures also say that the whole world
Right.
has been deceived, right? So we've all experienced some deception in one way or another or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that is the lesson in discernment as well.
Right.
Like you
Right.
get a one-on-one crash course on discernment just because you have been deceived at some point in your life, and so you start learning real quick.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you, Coach, because what it makes me think about is that you also got to be sensitive to that when you were talking about the intuition. You got to be sensitive to that because you can get that feeling. We always say, oh, I had this feeling, or something told me, or, and that spirit telling you or warning you or sending you some type of caution. And we got to be sensitive enough to be like, step outside of what we want to do because it may make us feel good, or it may be something we desire. And then that intuition or the Holy Spirit is telling us, no, not right now, this ain't it. And that's a discernment, but we have to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's up to us. That's that free will. He can give it to us all day long and we can sense that. But if we're not being sensitive to it, if we're not following that feeling, that gut feeling, and we get out there and do whatever it is that we want to do, then we get caught up in these situations based on the decisions that we made that were poor because we did not really listen to that discernment. We did not take heed to that caution. And it can also be a positive too. It could be something that, yes, that you've been praying about, you've been concerned about, and you've taken it before the Lord, and he's going, yes, go. And here you are, all still anxious about it, having anxiety and fear and not confident in it. Listen to that sensitivity of that discernment. Go for it. Go do whatever he's calling you to do. So it's just, one thing I think about it is that we have to also cultivate that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how do you do that? You want to first, you want to get into your word. You have to be tested on things like that. Like how we say every morning, every true vision has been tested, will be tested for authenticity. Yes. So how you think you're going to grow or cultivate, develop your discernment if you're not placed in a test where you have to use your discernment? We must be open to that, right? And it goes hand in hand with your wisdom, with the wisdom that, God gives you, with the wisdom that, you've been trained and you researched and now you're prepared. You got to apply it. You have to use it. You got to be confident in using it. And I like the part of the video where the speaker was saying, she said, it gives you a pathway in life and it makes you more sure. I really like when she said that because I'm like, you know what? It absolutely does. It gives you a certain level of certainty. And so, like, if you're out to do something, just let's talk about this opportunity that we're in with Extreme, right? When you discern something, when you have that gut feeling saying that this is right, this is a good thing, this is the right opportunity, and now you're researching, you're pursuing it, and you're becoming developed, you are more sure that this path that you're taking is the right path. You've done your due diligence, you've been connected, you've been praying, and you researching, you stayed, and now this opportunity is working out for you. And so I feel like on the pathway to being sure, you got to develop that discernment, but you got to be testing and be open and sensitive to the discernment. I just think it was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and this is what came up, and I wanted to share this because this is what this is something that was posted. I had posted it on my wall, with the caption saying Wednesday on the Coach's Corner we'll discuss discernment. Right. So today
Mhm.
it says accidentally spent all my life making sure everyone around me feels comfortable, only to realize I never felt comfortable the whole time.
Wow.
And so that's that thing, how do you end up making other people feel comfortable,
And you're not.
making sure they're comfortable, and you haven't been comfortable the whole time, making sure
Mm.
that they're comfortable. So again, that kind of goes hand in hand with that, because I mean, it's like, okay, well, did you do that on your
Mhm.
own, or was something presented to where you did that and everybody benefited but
Right.
you see what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
and how did you not discern that you would be the one to get the short end of the stick to where you were
Right.
comfortable,
Right.
right? Like those things. So um that happens. It happens a lot. It happens often. And it's that where if you're in that position,
Mhm.
if you've been in that position, if you're in that position and you're not comfortable and you want to get out of that position, this is where, this is what we mean. And then even when you get out of it, how not to go i- in something like that again in a
Right.
different situation with different people, right? This is where again, developing that discernment, the
Right.
spiritual discernment, just the discernment, being really, really cognizant of, again, the cognizant of behaviors. You know,
Absolutely.
there's more, what you say, like with body language. I mean, not body language, but just language.
Right.
10% of it is verbal. The other 90 is body.
Right.
Body language, tones, body language, the facial expressions. All of those things. So yeah, you know, we just want to make sure
Right.
cover
Right.
the topic of discernment, and again, how to navigate, how to use it, how to develop it, um to avoid
Mhm.
certain things. It reminds me of something that even Adrian Dynamite Sloan said the other day, on the training, that what did he say? He said, uh say like the pain or whatever of a birthing process or something like that. He was like,
Mhm.
we all experience pain at some point in life. He said, but some of y'all drawn out this pain.
Right.
like
Right.
like you causing your own pain at this point. Like, who does that? The
Mhm.
the thing is, apparently many people, because it's still, just it. I mean, think about that. Well, just people that's just going through all the time,
All the time. Right.
like all the time.
You don't get no breaks. You just been on a 30-year struggle.
Yeah. Like you struggling all your life.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, like, yes, there is growth and development at each stage, but man, at some point, you
Right.
know, pain has to be over. I mean, life is definitely ebbs and flows. But that prolonged stuff, that prolonged, drawn out pain and suffering, after a while, is like self-suffrage. And
Right.
and I don't know. I don't know who has the energy for it, but I don't. Like when you get older,
No.
it's like I
Your,
don't have.
your tolerance level for it is just not what it used to be. Your patience for things are not what it used to be. But there should have been, I said like that, some growth going on. Like there should have been something, that you discern, some wisdom that was used, some life lessons and experiences that you learn from. But if you're constantly just finding yourself in some bad situations or things that are not benefiting you, there's no growth, you gotta self-evaluate.
Yeah,
Like
the
you
discernment
gotta
is.
check in, right,
Yeah,
with that
and like,
examination of yourself because weeping's may endure for a night, but the Bible does say joy comes in the morning, but joy is not gonna come for 30 years. There's gonna be some periods where you experience that joy. There's gonna be some periods during your suffering or during your testing where you will come out of that. You will have a season of harvest, you have a season of joy, you have a season of peace. But if you're not experiencing the positive or the good side of things, that you need to self-reflect.
I mean, because really, like, and when we think about like seasons, right? Seasons, because there's like, there's seasons of life and things like that, and then there's the seasons. Even with the seasons, okay, it's 4 seasons. You got spring, summer, fall, and winter. Well, look, unless you live in Chicago, like unless you live in the Midwest,
right.
Winter is only 90 days.
That's it.
So you see what I'm saying? So it's like there are with 360. What is that? They say 365 or whatever. But look, with that amount of days, it's only 90 of them that's wintertime, where it's cold and it's snow and you in the house and it's the loss of sunlight.
And it's dark,
Right, and
most
it's dark,
of the time.
So I mean, you have 3/4 of the year with pretty decent weather. I mean, even the springtime. Okay, so you have the snow is melting and you have some rain and things like that, but at least it's not freezing outside. You do have some sunny days, then summer, right? And then even look, the fall, you can have some hot days, but still 3/4. It's like 3/4 out of a year is really nicer weather, and 1/4 of it is like death or burial. So
right.
if your entire life
it's
has
winter.
been, it's like your entire life has been winter, something
it's not right. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, something is off. Something is off.
Very.
And we want to help you to get it on. Not stay off, but get it on to where your growth and development and your discernment. Because that's the thing, like some discernment has to be off to continue to just get into
a cycle of poor decision making, a cycle of drought, famine, despair, depression. Like that stuff should be seasonal. But if you make it a cycle, then what the cycles do, they keep coming around and around and around and around. They reoccur. But that just means that you got to realize there's something that I'm not doing. And you know what, Coach? I used to be one that kind of fight that out of rebellion because I'm like, I know I'm doing everything right. But no, the truth is there's something that you're missing. You miss a step somewhere and you really need to go back and revisit that, and so you can overcome whatever it is that's keeping you in that season. Like that, like even the children of Israel when they were delivered out of Egypt, They was never supposed to be in that wilderness for no 40 years. It was a 3 days journey. But what are you doing wrong? There is something that you're doing and you need to take responsibility for it so you can now overcome this situation. You can get out of this cycle. You can break that cycle and move on so you can progress and move forward, whatever the case may be. But it does take discernment. And again, you got to cultivate that. You got to be sensitive to it, because that just means that you had discernment. You just refused to listen to it. You didn't take heed to the caution, or you didn't take heed to the positive sign that you were sent. You were skeptical, or whatever made you not move forward on something that could have been potentially good for you. And then you made a different decision, and now you find yourself back in that same dark season, that same cycle, right? And so it's just a trip. Like you have to, yes, Sonia, improving in one area doesn't mean continue to keep having an issue in that same area. Absolutely. There has to be some type of growth, within yourself. And then if you are not growing and you're in that same cycle, then you might need to change your group, change who you're hanging around, change what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're hearing. You know what I'm saying? There's some changes, right? Some changes need to be made, right?
Yes, yeah. Because environment is huge. I mean, after you've done so many things, okay, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did that, and and scientifically, it has been shown that the changes that usually need to be made are within the environment.
Right.
It is environmental things. And so, like, no, you can't control other people or anything like that, but you can control your own environment.
Absolutely.
You can control the spaces that you put yourself in. You can control, again, look, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to,
right.
what you eat, all of those things, especially when you decide, hey, I want something different. Whether it's be, spiritual or financial, or, health and your body or something like that. You got to change the environment.
Right.
And I mean, unless you're a child, and I don't think it's any children on here, then as an adult, you have that ability to do so,
right.
But discernment, look, and when you do decide, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to take control of my life, all of this kind of stuff, do know that there are forces, right? Spiritual forces that do not want you to succeed.
Right. Absolutely.
We're not going to even talk about, oh, well, my friends or my family or no. There are entities,
right,
that are, that are like
that.
gatekeepers. And so that's where that spiritual discernment really, really, really has to kick in.
Absolutely.
Because then you'll see, it's like, you know what? Like we say every day on Morning Motivation, I am the only one who can stop me. I'm the only one.
Right.
And the only way that you will not stop you is, man, that spiritual discernment has to be developed.
Yes.
Because when you see the thing, even with, like, when you talked about yesterday with the healthy confrontations, right? Coach Cotton is doing, is it 6 weeks? It's a 6 week. Yeah, a 6-week course on healthy confrontation every Tuesday, and it's wonderful. And and look, I'm a coach, but I show up because I needed to. Yesterday, Coach Cotton saved me. I promise you, she did.
Y'all don't let Coach fool y'all. That just payback, return of some favors.
Because I was like, look, Coach, sometimes people,
I've been there.
Let me put this coaching hat down, and I'm about to put on this other hat. I'm about to forget the hats. I'm about to get the Vaseline out. Put the Vaseline on my face. Take these shoes off.
I cannot. I will not do this today.
Right.
You all know.
Right. Coach had to talk me down. And so
It's some real, like you're right though, Coach. There's some real entities out there. I mean, even the Bible speaks of that. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, forces, like Tony said. And if we don't have that spiritual discernment, how can we fight against spiritual things?
Sonya said, "Keep the look." I was about
right, Sonya. Coach, she don't Vaseline her face down. She got a box of gloves on. She got some notebook rings.
Like, you know what?
Keep your earrings on, Coach.
Keep your earrings on.
But it's so true. It's so true. And if you don't have that discernment, you know, things can go left real quick. And then, like you said, Coach, you'll find yourself in that season of just winter over and over again. And that's not the design. That's not even what the Creator has for us. That's not his plan for you to be in winter your whole life.
Your whole life.
He said, ask for wisdom. Wisdom is a principal thing. He is not holding back wisdom for you. Solomon asked for wisdom. And then guess what? Because he asked for that wisdom, he gave him everything else that he didn't ask for, right? He gave him the material things. He gave him the kingdom. But if you're lacking in wisdom, or if you're lacking discernment, ask for that. Request that so that you can grow and you can be developed, because it's all about you being developed, you improving, you growing, so that not only does it help you, you can now share and help someone else. Exactly. Like that's the whole point of this thing. This is not even just for you, but you got to get to a place where you can reach one, right? Like this whole Coach's Corner is about reaching other people. Coach and I have been through some things and experiences we probably don't even want to talk about, but it's to help you get to your next level. But you got to have the will, you got to be sensitive, and you got to be obedient and take heed to caution, or take heed to what's being told to you by the intuition, the Holy Spirit, that discernment, that wisdom, that knowledge, right? He said, "Now that get and understanding." If you don't understand what's happening, you're going to continue to be in that winter season for a very long time.
Yes. And we don't want that. We don't want
at
that
all.
At all.
Don't want you in no winter season.
Yes.
For years.
And so we and look, and with this, we are wrapping up this coaching session on the Coach's Corner about discernment. Yeah. And so you want to make sure you come back Friday, because we'll be wrapping it up Friday with this week's topic, right? And let's see, it was something else. It came in my mind and it just went. But anyway, come back Friday. Right? Come back Friday. And so as you see scrolling down below, with our Extreme FX Young Guns Youth Entrepreneurship and Development Program, of course, is every Monday and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we're about to roll over into our Extreme FX Young Guns program. Now, this is the study hall tonight. Like I said, we usually break out into two rooms. There's the parent room. So, if you're a parent, you're thinking about what it is we do in our community where we trade on the Forex market. We have great educators. We have a great community, great support, and all of that. We teach money. That's what we do. We teach money. We teach you how to make money, how to bring in that money from a $7.3 trillion market. There's money everywhere. There's no shortage out here. We just weren't taught where to look. Right. We wasn't taught where to look, and then the skill set on how to get it. But that's what we do over here. We teach money, and not only just for the adults, but for our children as well, because our children are our future.
Absolutely.
They're our future. So if you have questions as a parent, you could come into the parent room. A lot of parents over there that are, asking the questions. You get the answers. I'll be over there as well, kind of facilitating. And then we have the breakout room for our youth, where Kiana is over there with the study hall, and she's answering questions and things like that. She's teaching, and usually, like, Ryan's her right hand man. that ends up, you know, and picks up. I mean, look, he teaching.
Right. He teaching for real.
He teaching for real. He teaching Forex. It's like
which is so phenomenal to that point when you bring a Ryan. Every time you bring a Ryan in this the Young Guns Youth Entrepreneurship Program with Extremists, it just does my heart so good because this is a different industry that most kids have never seen. It has not been introduced to them. They knew nothing about it. But now here is a platform that's showing them they don't have to be a football player. They don't got to be a rapper. They ain't got to, be some athletics or, be a doctor or a lawyer, which not knocking those professions, great professions. But whoever thought that there will be young entrepreneurs teaching a skill to trade in a $7.3 trillion industry, who's bringing in money, making money on the Forex market at 16 years old, 10 years old, 17 years old. Where they do that at? And teaching them financial literacy, right? Extreme.
They do it here. They do it here. Global Academy, where Bitcoin and Forex collide.
Hello, say that 10 times because it's so needed. And parents, if you're watching the Coach's Corner and you have a child or youth anywhere from the ages 8, and I say 21, I'm like, Coach, I take it to 21 because they still need a little help too. Just go see. Look, I always tell people, just go listen. You don't even know it's unfamiliar. Go listen. Because you could be the key or the connection to teach your child something totally different. That could be the legacy, the generational wealth to your family. This can bring you out of that winter season.
Yes.
Break the cycle of generational curses and walk into your generational blessing. So get over there. As you guys see, it's going on the bottom. Coach had to say that because he's 17 years old and he's teaching a Forex trading class.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, stop playing. When he walk into the boardroom, they're gonna look at him and be like, "What you know? Why are you here?" He's gonna be like, "Because I'm a $7.3 trillion educator." I mean, come on, y'all stop playing. Coach, you know I can preach this all day. Stop playing. He's going to be walking into different rooms and he's not going to look the part, but he's going to be able to outdo those that's in that boardroom. When Jay-Z bought his first basketball team, his first franchise, he didn't look the part. He was the only person that looked like him at the table.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a Ryan. That's going to be a Jasera. That's going to be a, what's Tanner's daughter's name? I can't. Sahara, right? So these youth are not looking like what you expect for them to look at, but they're gonna be able to make other people look like they chose a different route, and it may not have been the best route. When your CEO is 17 and trading in a global market, and you're the one having to go get lessons to learn this skill set, all I gotta say is parents, aunties, uncles, cousins, y'all better get them kids to this youth entrepreneurship program. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about it.
Right. And so I'm putting the information into the chat down below. So you could just go ahead and click it because we will be over there in 3 minutes. Right in 3 minutes. So it's www.newmembers.org and the password. What's the password? I feel like Morris Day on
icon, all caps.
What's the password?
You forgot.
What? That's the password. What's the password? That's it. What's it? What?
What is this password?
What is the password? What is the password? That's what I'm asking.
Icon, because these youth are living icons.
Yes, they
living icons. Woo! I get proud every time I say it.
Okay.
Well, you guys, this has been the Coach's Corner. Again, go ahead, join the Young Guns. Guns stands for Generations Under New Zeal. Coach has put the information in the chat, and it's also scrolling at the bottom of this live. Look, get over there. Starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Get over there. You guys have been watching the Coach's Corner with the great Coach Hadassah, myself, Coach Cotton, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we help you get to your next level. We will see you on the other side of success. As Barack chokes in the background, I don't know what he got going on with.
Okay.
I can't even do end the show because he's like, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. See you all over at newmembers.org for the Extreme FX Young Guns Youth Entrepreneurship and Development Study Hall. All right.
Yes.
Peace.